Well, I see she's pushed all the buttons to get Facebook up and going because that's obviously the important thing here.
You know, I'm only even slightly good at Facebook. I know how to like do the go live button and the add description and sometimes tag friends when I remember.
Yeah.
You know, but social media is one of those things that develops so fast that I don't have time to just sit there and do on it. I actually participate in the community.
Is there a go dead button on Facebook? Because I could easily push that.
I know that there's like a delete account button, which I've done in the past.
Is it really?
Yeah, delete account or set it, like you can put it on hold, like you can unpublish a page.
I know you can pause it.
But you can delete a Facebook page as well.
Page or account?
Account. Well,
because I need to go through that with my survivors at some point. Not today, not tomorrow. Don't give me that stink eye over there.
I was gonna say.
But at some point, I'm gonna have to say, you know what? You're gonna have to be able to shut this down.
Yes, and it's really incredible. Like, I don't know. Social media is a dark hole, dark hole that we won't get into on a Wired Wednesday.
We can.
It's too dark.
I mean,
we're already at a gloomy morning. I mean, come on, we need some action out of these
Frankly,
clouds.
people that are looking for me to spend a lot of time on Facebook probably already think that I am dead because I'm just so rarely there.
Oh man. Good morning, it's McKennan Hansen with Wired Wednesday. My in-guest studio had other family commitments today, so it is just me riding solo. And today, I'd really like to talk about life insurance.
Well, I think we can because, well, it's your show and you sell life insurance.
Well, I do sell life insurance and it is my show, but I really like it when guests are here because then it's a better conversation. And you and Chris are really good at these kinds of conversations. Are you guys ready for it?
You bet.
Okay, so in every obituary...
You're expecting us to
Yes, you guys
listen?
have to participate today because I'm missing my co-host.
Well, I don't know if we're up for that.
I'll bring bacon.
I was going to say.
All right.
Okay, we're in.
You said the magic word.
With life insurance, guys, how many obituaries say how funerals are paid for?
None that I'm aware of.
None.
Yeah.
It's not mentioned in any capacity. Do you know how much the average funeral costs?
Oh, hang on. Last I heard, maybe that's changed, and you can tell me which button to hit. Last I heard, because we had a funeral director in not that long ago, it seemed like it was $800 to $8,500, $8,000 to $8,500.
More.
Really?
In an average of southern Utah, it's around $20,000.
Wow.
No.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, that tears it for me.
Right. You're purchasing a Toyota Corolla, and not even a 2022 Toyota Corolla. You're purchasing like a 2015 Toyota Corolla without any usage on it when you have to bury a loved one.
You know, Tammy and I have been thinking about the option of burn, baby, burn.
You're still looking around 10.
I know you're still looking at a pretty good chunk of change.
It's incredible. And nobody thinks, it's like kind of like bad juju to talk about how things are going to get paid, right? The family's really aware of it. And not only do you have to have like the burden of the loss of the loved one you just had, but now you have this financial burden, right? And then hopefully you're not dealing with a situation where they're leaving behind children, or they're leaving behind a spouse and children, or all of those umpteen situations that we have, right?
Right.
Then let's talk about inflation.
No,
right?
let's not. I don't.
Right.
Anyway.
No.
Actually, let's do talk about that. Because I do have a question to you, Miss Provider of Life Insurance.
Yes.
Are there programs out there that will increase benefits as inflation rises? Can you sell things like that?
Yes. And
a gold star for you, young lady.
I'm just saying, there are so many plans out there. It is literally like a bag of Skittles, and all of the bags of Skittles, because there are so many different types and flavors and some things about Skittles, and you can fall in love with one thing and hate the next. And unless you talk about it and you are open about it and you're honest with yourself and with your agent and with your spouse and with your family situation, you won't know, and not knowing is an uneducated consumer, and I want to put a stop to that. I think people need to be educated, at least if they take action or not is their own platform, right?
But at least if they have the information.
But if they have the information and they can make a conscious decision saying, I've been educated and I do not like this, or I've been educated and I want to take action in some form, let's get started.
All right, so for the people that are listening with us this morning, get braced because we're about to go through the MJ mandate.
Yes.
Of learning about life insurance here. So
No, really, life insurance 101, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take all of your debts, add them up, times them by 2, and
why,
that's how
why
much.
by 2?
Because that's for inflation.
Okay, really?
Yep.
Okay.
By the time you need life insurance, by the time any of us are going to need life insurance in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you'd rather have too much than not enough, right?
Sure.
So in my situation, you know, I have 2 young children, I have a spouse, I have a monthly income. To replace my monthly income, I need at least $900,000 in the bank. And that on a projected scale, with all of the life insurance gurus out there, if I drop that $900,000 into an annuity, I can pull $3,000 off of that a month. Not me specifically, because I'm no longer here, right?
Right.
My spouse can. And he could have my monthly income replaced when he leaves that in the bank. And then all of us have mortgages, right?
Not all of us.
Well, Tim, you're in that very special situation. No, most of us have mortgages or rents or living situation, right? And rent even now in a 3-bedroom home is $1,200 or $1,300 a month.
Try 14.
14, excuse me. Yes, we just had Jesse and Chantry on
They were
the
here
show
yesterday,
yesterday.
too, yeah.
You know, we went over rent and buying a house or having a debt. I have, let's see, $275,000 in debt on my house. So right, so I have 900 plus 275. So I'm up over what,
You're
1175?
About 1.2.
Right?
Close to it, yeah.
Right. So then you add in like my vehicle debt, because my vehicle still needs to be there even though I'm not, to transport my children.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then you go into this and you calculate it, and then you're like, oh, well, by the time any of this really comes to fruition, you know, it's not going to happen in the next year. It's not going to happen in the next 2 years. But inflation and policy changes and all of this, we're going to need a little bit of a buffer. So let's just say I need 1.5 to be safe. Right?
Okay.
The beautiful thing, just guess what the most beautiful thing about life insurance is.
Not that expensive.
It's not that expensive, and it is 100% tax-free to the beneficiary.
Oh, really? That is
Nobody
a beautiful
gets
thing.
taxed on the original distribution of the life insurance policy.
So if you had a policy for 1.5, as that policy gets distributed, that's all non-tax money.
Free money. Yes.
Wow.
So let's say I have a life insurance policy,
How did
which I
that
do.
happen?
It's a purchased product. It's already, you're paying it with after-tax dollars, and legislation says that life insurance is not taxed. And it's one of those things that cannot be changed, to my understanding.
Oh, trust me, if the government can get their hands on money, they'll find a way to do
Well,
it.
that's where you go into state tax, like inheritance tax and pass-on tax and stuff. And that brings me to my next really good point.
Which is?
Succession planning. How many farms, how many agriculture, how many companies do we have in this area that are the lifeblood of this company, of this area?
Several.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds influence and impact this community by paying local people to work for them, by paying their grocery bill, by paying their mortgage, by paying for their school systems. You know, hundreds of companies and businesses around this area. So what's going to happen if those businesses are no longer? Or they lose a key employee? Let's say the radio station lost you, Tim.
Oh, that'd be fine.
No. You bring the followers.
No.
You bring ads. You bring commercials. You are important to Cherry Creek.
Maybe on some level, but I
Don't discount yourself right here.
Well,
all
no,
I'm
I'm going
saying is that there are products for key people to Lord forbid we had to replace you.
But it's going to happen someday.
Right. But whether that's planned or not, there is a product. There is a life insurance product for key employees.
I knew that. The key person.
The key person. You know, so if you have a mechanic, if you have a foreman on your construction crew that you know is just worth their weight, but to get them replaced in a short-term fashion, you don't necessarily have the bonus money or the umpteenth money to start paying a person that's equally qualified or better qualified to come in and replace them. You now have leverage life insurance to start paying that, I'm going to say, add-on salary, or be able to quickly replace them. Or if you can't, make up for the loss of profits because that person's no longer there. In a short term, in a 1 to 2 or 5 year plan for that.
I would have to say, Chris and I, looking at our pay here, there'd be no way we'd consider ourselves key people. So.
Oh my! But you guys bring the content, you bring the shows, you are vital to Cherry Creek in Cedar City.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. But I think the point we're trying to make here, though, is what happens. I mean, specifically in our case, if we ended up not being here for whatever reasons, the station will continue on. But you're right. It needs to have something.
The financial burden doesn't have to be a burden.
Exactly right.
It doesn't have to be a thought. And when you talk to an insurance agent for life insurance, when you talk to me specifically, we go through all of your needs. We sit down during our discovery appointment. We figure out what your debt profiles looks like, you know, what you need to bring home, what the ghost you needs to bring home, specifically to make sure that your family doesn't miss a beat in the financial area. Now, I understand there is a grief process and you will be missed and those things do happen, but lessen the financial burden on your family. Lessen it on your spouse. Lessen it for your family. You know, and people come up to me and say, well, Kennan, I live by myself. I don't have local family around. And I'm like, right. But how much more impactful can you make your planning if something did happen to you for your parents, you know, who live out of state and they receive this funds to help pay for your services? How much less of a burden can we make the loss of ourselves? You know, people shouldn't have to worry about money, especially if there's life insurance in place. You know, and let's talk about that doubling factor, right?
Yeah.
That life insurance factor. So there's life insurance products out there that you can actually take an income off of after so many years.
Oh yeah, I understood that.
Right. So when you take those products
So
and
it's kinda
double
like
them.
getting a retirement plan in place.
Right.
To some degree.
Right. Yes, to some degree. You're leveraging life insurance, right? And that's where the doubling factor comes in. Because you're going to be paying for this policy, and by the time you want to withdraw from the policy, inflation will be at the levels that you'll have patted yourself on the back for doubling it, because now you have planned for the inflationary, so you're not looking at this, wow, I should have put double in 20 years ago. You know, when's the best time to plant a tree?
20 years ago.
And the next best date?
Today.
Right. It goes into that old adage, you know, of making sure you're putting planning in place, because none of us know our expiration date. And if somebody out there does, I want to talk to them. Because I want to know mine personally, just so I can plan for the future. But because I
They
don't
know yours, they only know theirs.
Right. You know, I don't know mine. So I have to do the best thing that I can do, which is getting the most appropriate plans for my situation in place, you know. And I'm a huge fan of term policies. You want to know why?
No, I'm curious about that, because it seems to me like that's not where you make the most bang for your work.
No, but it's not always about me. It's about my clients.
What?
Lord forbid.
That's a novel
That's
concept.
how can that be?
I put my clients first every time of the week. Every interaction I do, I am thinking about them and their situation.
That's how they remain your clients.
Right. You know, I have a really good following because I literally, in the best capacity that I can, put my clients forward. You know, put them first and make sure that they're taken care of. Because if I don't, then I'm just that another Joe Schmo selling life insurance down the street. You know?
You would actually be Josephine Schmo, but okay.
Well, yes, Josephine. No, Josephine was on Little Women. Although that is a good holiday classic. Squirrel. So, but...
I'm sorry, did you say squirrel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But at the end of the day, you know, putting your proper planning in place, term products fill specific needs. You have a car loan, that's one term product. You have a 10-year loan, you have a 15-year loan on a trailer or an RV, or an apartment or a something. A mortgage, although now it's being, as Chantry and Jesse talked about yesterday, a lot of people are refinancing into 15-year loans because it's not that much more expensive and it's a shorter period. You save on interest, right? So you get these 15-year mortgages of, I'll say, $250,000. You only need one term product for that house. You need a different term product to replace your income, because more than likely you have children in the home, or you're planning on having children, and that's kind of like a 30-year raising period. You know, we hope that they're out by 18, but you know you're going to be one of you, whether it's yourself or your spouse, is going to be paying or helping them pay for things until they're into their 30s.
Oh, beyond that, actually.
Right. You know, so for income replacement, it's a specific product. It's a I would say a 30-year term product for income replacement, which is a different price. It's a different price structure. You have different needs and different debts. One thing that we will always have, I'm going to say bereavement money, of allowing your spouse to fully bereave in whether that takes a year or 5 years, it's up to you, and funeral costs. And that to me is a permanent policy because those things never go away. But see, out of the 3 products I've mentioned, 2 of them are term because they fill specific needs. Every time you refinance, every time you get into a new mortgage, every time you need to readjust those term products. Because if something happened to you today and you didn't come home tomorrow, your family is out. They can figure it out, I'm sure. But whether that's marrying the next spouse because they have to or because they want to, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And I've even had I've had spouses come to me and be like, well, I don't care whoever they marry. They'll have to take care of them then, and I won't have to. And I'm like, wow, how selfish are you? Which is fine. There are selfish people out there. I'm one of those really giving people, when you just roll with it. But at the end of the day, what type of life insurance needs to replace you is up to you and your family's decision. I give you options. I educate you. Because going about the world uneducated is just making a fool of yourself.
Well, Chris and I have had success at that for some time now.
You're more educated than you lead on. Both of you are. Chris is over there just, working on his laptop.
Chris is actually Mr. Degree. I'm just.
And maybe I get this passion for life insurance because I am educated about it, and I wish the world would stop selling it on behalf of the agent. Sell it on behalf of your client, of your own family members, of the people that you care about. My thing is I want to show up to any funeral I want having good conscience that I did everything that I could for that family. Now, again, that's educating people, and they make their own decision, but at least I educated, and I did everything that I could do as a human, as both a friend, a colleague, and an insurance person, to make sure that they had the best decision possible.
We have a lot of discussions. We have Tyler Melling come in from time to time, and he does estate planning. Not from selling insurance, but what happens after.
Right.
And all that. We spend a lot of time sometimes on the radio station talking about things that I think especially younger people don't think very much about, myself including. When I was a younger person, it's like, that's years away from now, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by one thing. I get to work with a younger group of people on the weekends, and we've proposed having meetings, because I work with some people that work in financial planning and things.
Right.
And we've proposed meeting with them on things like insurance and planning and stuff like that. I was very excited by how many people signed up to come.
That's good.
That really is good, because I think we've got maybe a generation now that's starting to think that they're not going to, that they need to plan for what happens in their later years.
They do. There's only 2 things guaranteed in life: death and taxes. And why not plan for both?
Well, I would disagree with that, because in my life there's also bacon.
Well, there is bacon too. It's just, as we're kind of wrapping up the show, it's really encouraging when people are open to the idea of just discussing it. They don't need it being life insurance. They don't have to make decisions today. They do need to be aware of it, because if something happened to them going home tonight, and that happens more often than we want to believe.
Oh yeah, true.
Then,
especially with people driving over 100 miles an hour here on the road.
Oh man, and us coming up on a winter storm, we all know the college students. The college students, stay away from university.
That's a little bias over there, isn't it?
Oh no, I worked at the university for 6 years, and by damn, every time it snowed, the first snowstorm, the bridge coming up over university, college to university, no kidding, a 3 or 4 car pileup, and I'm like, guys, it's Cedar, we snow. Anyways, this has been McKennan Hansen, your local Farm Bureau financial agent. You can contact me for all your life insurance, home and auto, succession planning, farm, ranch, and commercial needs. My number is 435-592-2021. My office is located just off of North Main behind Mountain America in Suite B. I look forward to talking to anyone and educating them about life insurance and what options are out there for their specific need and their specific family situation. Thank you so much, McKennan Hansen, 435-592-2021.
Now, about that bacon.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, and the bacon will be paid in full.
I was thinking about the pusher this morning. How's he doing?
So good.
Is he?
So good. He is enjoying his new role in life, and he is rolling with you know, all of the different grandchildren that he has now, and the different auxiliary activities that he participates in.
All right. I haven't seen him for a while. Give him
I'll make sure.
All right, you're not going anywhere. We're going to talk here.